All right, guys. So, in thinking about this question of how many rolls of toilet paper would fit into the bathtub, I put the picture of my bathtub here and I kind of showed you the three dimensions of my bathtub. Now, before we start talking about how many rolls of toilet paper, I want to remind you guys of a couple things. First off, remember when we're talking about a rectangular prism, which is roughly the shape of my bathtub, we're saying that volume can be found by taking the length multiplying by the width or multiplying by the height. Now, another way we could say that is remember length times width is the same thing as the area. So sometimes people will say multiply the area by the height. So we need those three dimensions in order to be able to find the volume or how many rolls of toilet paper. Because remember, when we're talking about volume, we're saying how can we fill this space? How much will fit inside of this space? Now, normally when we talk about volume, remember we were talking about cubic units. So we could have cubic inches or cubic centimeters or cubic feet. Remember, a cubic inch would be like a cube that was an inch long, an inch wide, and an inch high. Now, in this case, though, we're not measuring in a standard unit. We're measuring in rolls of toilet paper. So, how many rolls of toilet paper are going to fit? Now, if we go back and take a look here at this bathtub, one thing I can draw in is think about that bottom layer. Notice there were 9 rolls of toilet paper in the length, and there were 3 rolls of toilet paper wide. So if I went back and just drew what those rolls would look like, if there were more here, it would look something like this. And keep in mind, this would just be the bottom layer. Um, Now, that is what the bottom layer would look like. It would be 9 rolls long and 3 rolls wide. Or in other words, there would be 3 groups of 9. So that's 9 times 3, which is 27. So 27 of rolls of toilet paper along the bottom there. Now, that is like taking, if we look back at our math here, that's like taking the length times the width. That's the bottom, just the bottom portion, the bottom layer. Now, what we got to think about when we're thinking about volume is we have to think about the height. If we go over here and look at the rolls of toilet paper, you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3 rolls high. So basically what we're going to have to do then is now take 27 times 3, and that's going to give me my grand total, which is 81 rolls of toilet paper. Now, again, this isn't perfect because there's going to be a little bit of empty space in the bathtub because it's not a perfect rectangular prism. And also, rolls of toilet paper might be different sizes based upon the type of toilet paper that you purchase. But what we do have to think is those three dimensions of that rectangular prism, the length, the width, and the height that help us to find the volume. And in this case, remember, our units are going to be in rolls versus regular when we're talking about volume. Remember, we're talking about cubic inches, cubic centimeters, cubic feet. I also want you to think, when you're thinking about volume, also think about how volume looks in the metric system where we're talking about liters or milliliters. And thinking about how that relates back then to linear volume, remember that we said that 1 milliliter is mathematically equivalent to 1 cubic centimeter. If we took a cubic centimeter and completely hollowed it out, it would fit exactly 1 milliliter of liquid. So thinking about how those two things are related as well. Now your job is going to be to go back now and see, what if I filled up my bathtub with toilet paper? How many rolls of toilet paper could I fit in my bathtub? I want you to give that a shot. Now, if you don't have a bathtub, use something that you do have. You could use a cabinet, you could use a shower, you could use a drawer, you could use anything that you can fill up. That's a rectangular prism. Also, if you don't have toilet paper, use your imagination. Fill it up either with something else, or imagine how many rolls of toilet paper would fit, the length, the width, and the height, and see if you can then figure out how many rolls of toilet paper would fit inside.
Now, it turns out that I don't actually have enough toilet paper to fill my bathtub. This is all the toilet paper that I have. It's a lot more than it looks, actually. But it seems is the best way to fix this is I'm gonna have to go buy some more toilet paper.